Hello once again, hungry viewers. It's me, your old friend Alex, and welcome to Bites and Booze. And today I am paying homage to my Italian heritage. Gluten-free, Italian, can the two marry? Yes, they can, and they do so quite well. Today I am making sweet potato gnocchi with a sage butter sauce that will blow your mind. It is all gluten-free and absolutely delicious. As my Italian nonna would say, andiamo, let's make some gnocchi. So I have here about 2 pounds of sweet potatoes that I've roasted at 425 for about 40 minutes in the oven. So they're super nice and soft. And all I'm gonna do is just peel the skin away like this, just to expose that gorgeous sweet potato meat. I'm going to grab a measuring cup, and I'm gonna need about 2 cups of the sweet potato. I came up with this recipe because when I first was diagnosed with celiac and I found out that I was allergic to flour, my nonna was beside herself. She first asked me, I told her, I said, Nonna, you know, I'm allergic to flour. She's like, allergic to who? Flour. Flour. I'm allergic to flour. So I surprised her with this sweet potato recipe, and every time I see her, she's always asking for the sweet potato gnocchi. So I have about 2 cups of the puree, and I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of ricotta cheese. So I'm just gonna give that a good mix and get that all incorporated. And next I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. So right into there. You don't want to overdo the nutmeg, it's super powerful. You'll end up having your whole gnocchi taste like your grandfather's living room. I don't know, my grandfather's living room tasted like nutmeg all the time. I often ate couches as a child. All right, so next I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of gray salt, along with 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Next up, I'm going to add 1¼ cup of all-purpose gluten-free flour. Now this is my own blend that I've made. I'm gonna use 1¼ cup of this flour. You don't want your gnocchi to get to be too tough, so you really wanna be careful when you measure. Make sure you got a nice light, good measurement on there. When you're ready to roll your gnocchi, dust your cutting board with a little bit of your flour like this, and divide your dough into 3 different parts and gently grab some of your dough. You just want to start working it around like this just to get it a little dusted with flour so you get it all coming together. What you're going to do is just roll it out. It's excelente. Alrighty, so we've got this rolled out into a log, and now all I'm going to do is just take a knife and give them a little cut. I want to cut them into about inch-long pieces. All right, so I've got my first log cut, and I'm just gonna grab a baking sheet. So I'm going to dust my pan with a little bit of flour and add my gnocchi there, and just repeat the process until I am all finished with my dough. So I've got all my beautiful gnocchi all laid out, ready to go. I keep talking about this gnocchi, let's just get her done. I've got some water boiling over here, and I am going to salt it liberally. Boom. It never gets old for me. Oh my God, I'm so lame. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some of these gnocchis and plunge them into the salted water. And you don't wanna overcrowd your pot because they will stick together. You wanna give them enough room to dance around. The great thing about gnocchi is that they'll tell you when they're done. They'll immediately float to the top, and that's when you know they're done. Depending on your pot, and this pot I'm gonna probably start with 10 to 15 gnocchi. That's good. So for my sauce, I have a pan on low heat, and I'm gonna add a stick of butter. And I'm gonna get that melted up. To that, I'm going to add a pinch of salt and some pepper. So I'm gonna let this melt, and I'm going to pick out my sage leaves. I need about 15 for this recipe. All right, so this is all melted down, and I'm going to add my sage leaves, and I'm just gonna let that just fry for a couple seconds, just so I can let the sage perfume the butter. And these gnocchi are starting to rise, so I'm gonna pull them out and just keep them in a little bowl. They're absolutely gorgeous. And if you feel them, they're just fall apart tender. And they're just screaming for some butter. You can have them come see me. I'm part of the mafia. I don't think you're allowed to tell people you're part of the mafia, but I just did because I trust you. Capiche? So what I'm gonna do now is now that the butter is getting nice and foamy, the sage is frying, I'm gonna add the gnocchi. So I'm just gonna lightly toss the gnocchi in the butter sauce. Right at the end, I'm just gonna finish it with a tablespoon of maple syrup, and that's just gonna bring everything together. It's gonna intensify the sweetness of the sweet potato, and it's gonna bring out the sage. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this. Look at these. This is not a picture perfect. All you have to do to finish this is grate a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano over the top. My nonna would be so proud of me. Dig in. Holy crap. You have never had a more tender gnocchi, I guarantee you. These sweet potato gnocchi are super unique and they are absolutely delicious. If you want to impress your friends with some new culinary dishes, you have to try these gnocchi. They're unbelievable. And this basil peach bellini, I mean, Gina, really? It'll blow your mind. For these recipes and more, make sure you subscribe to Hungry's videos. If you want these recipes, just look down below or visit my blog, again-thegrade.com. I will see you guys next week. Until then, keep drinking. Cheers.
Subscribe to Hungry and feed your food obsession.